Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms. Find me over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin and my co-host Dale at Dynasty_Dale. Thank you guys for joining us. It is draft week and I'm super excited. So just a recap real quick, it's coming up on the NFL draft. And if you're finding this channel for the first time or, you're tuning in for the first time, or if you've been away for a little while and you're just coming back, just wanted to recap some of the content that we've been putting out for you guys this entire offseason. We've gone through rookie rankings before the combine. We went through rookie rankings after the combine. We went through all the prospects for every single position for the rookies. So we updated you guys on all those guys. We went through Dynasty rankings, some guys that we love. So there's been a ton of content. I've been putting out side videos with Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. A lot of them are coming true, just by the way. I just want to point that out. The Lamar Jackson one does scare me. I'm not going to lie. I did predict him going back to the Ravens, at least for this season. But I don't know, man. It could, we'll see. We'll see. It's been up and down on that front. So I predicted Trey Lance will get traded. So we'll see how that one goes. But, it's been a wild and just action-packed offseason so far, and it's only the beginning. After the NFL draft, we're going to have so much more content for you guys. Once we have actual landing spots, we can start to think through these prospects more in depth. Bijan's great. I love Bijan, but if he goes somewhere where it's a terrible if he goes to the Colts at 4, and this is a crazy situation, right? But if he goes to the Colts at 4, I'm not as excited about Bijan anymore. You know what I mean? So there is no safe landing spot for any of these guys yet. We'll talk about that more in depth post draft. Hopefully, you guys tune in with us all off season long. So that said, we're rewarding ourselves a little bit today with an NFL mock draft. We've done one, I think, so far, but today,
we have.
Yeah. So today we are actually. Where's this at? Here we go. So if you're following along, you can see the draft board here. And we're going to be using Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator. The biggest reason why is because, oh gosh, I'm messing up all my screens here. The biggest reason why is Pro Football Talk. They have basically made their mock draft simulator pay to use now, which is super great. Which
dumb.
Really, really dumb there. So not entirely sure why that's happening, but it is. So we're going to be using this one. You can trade and stuff on there. But Jail, how's it going today?
Hey, it's going pretty good. I am exhausted, but I am super excited for the NFL draft coming up. And I love mock drafts, so give me more, and I can't wait to go.
Yeah, it feels like everyone and their mother is giving a mock draft right now. So
I know.
It's always fun. But, we'll join the fun. We're rewarding ourselves for a crazy offseason. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, like the video, give a comment, give a subscription, modifying the overlay for you guys live while we're doing this. So hope you guys are liking it. I messed up my own windows here, so which is great, but can't complain. So no, we're going to get started. So this time I'm taking the odds, you're taking the evens. I think last time we had it reverse. So That said, I don't think there's going to be too much change here. And so how do you want to do this? Do you want to do predictive or do you want to do what we would do?
I think we should do predictive so we can see how many we actually get right.
Come on, man.
Well, hey,
all right, we'll do predictive.
Fully up to you.
The only reason I don't like predictive is because it means I have to do Bryce Young to Carolina. It's just bad. It's just bad.
Well, yeah, it's fully up to you. Like, it is your podcast.
We'll do predictive. No, we'll do predictive.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine.
Right.
We'll see how many we can nail. So thank you guys again for listening. Likes, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Follow the podcast if you're listening just audio, Spotify, Apple, Google, anything like that. Tell the podcast to one of your friends. Share this mock draft with one of them as well. That's all we can really ask for here as we close out the offseason. So that said, I am on the clock. I'm going to be taking Bryce Young. I don't think this is the best pick for...
I agree.
Yeah. So, and real quick, if you're watching on YouTube, so we got the draft board. it's going to be going through these picks all in round one. And then we also have the consensus big board on the side. This is Pro Football Network's. We have differences in opinions on some of these guys, obviously, but it's kind of just nice to see who the top players available are as we go through the entire draft. So this is just a plug. Come check out the YouTube channel if you're not watching, you're just listening. So Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers, it seems like all but a done deal at this point in time. When the GM's talking about nutritionists, it's just,
It's just
if you're talking about a nutritionist, there's no way you're going anywhere else, right? And I don't think Bryce Young is the best quarterback prospect. I'd take CJ Stroud if it was me. The size does concern me. Like, I know people are saying, oh, but he's the smartest quarterback in this class. I get it. You can be a rocket scientist, but if you're 5'5", you're probably not going to be playing in the NBA. You know what I mean? So it's the big boy leagues out here. And,
it is.
I put out a tweet, which was pretty crazy and pretty funny. I went through and looked at Bryce Young, who he played this last year in terms of NFL caliber defensive players, right? Because it's Alabama. They play in the SEC. They play better players. He played a grand total of 10, top 3 round picks this last year in the entire season. 10 of them. And only 2 of them, I think, were first round prospects. Like, I get it. It's an easy, it just makes me very concerned. That's all I'm saying. So Bryce Young is picked. I wouldn't do it, but that's what I think the Panthers are going to do. So you're on the clock with the Houston Texans at 2.
All right, so it's for the Texans. I'm actually, well, if I were them, I would take CJ Stroud in a heartbeat, but I think they're going to go different because I think they had their heart set out for Bryce Young, and I sure hope that Will Levis doesn't get drafted number 2, but I wouldn't be shocked. But I'm going to go with Will Anderson.
Okay, all right, this is where it'll get fun.
Yes. I believe that there's a big connection with him and the Texans' new head coach in Ryans, because they're both Alabama alum, and I just see the connection there, and it just makes too much sense that he's a defensive coach and he's going to pick his defensive player.
Yeah, it gets his Nick Bosa, right? And I mean, there is the connection of Alabama, with Nick Caserio. Now, I don't really understand what the heck is going on with the front office of the Houston Texans.
I don't know. It's weird.
What's his name? Cal McNair? Is that his name?
Yeah.
That dude is nuts. Like, he does not know how to run a franchise for sure.
Pretty bad.
For sure. So, it is what it is. But Nick Caserio, they've always kind of, even going back to the Patriots, there's just always been that connection to Alabama players. Last year, Devin Singletary was their first pick in the draft, at number 2 last year as well. So, they love these defensive guys. I agree with you. I think it makes the most sense. Get CJ Stroud, go trade for him. That's what I'm advocating.
I know.
All right, number 3. So here's the question. Are the Cardinals going to end up finding a trade? CJ Stroud's on the board. You got Anthony Richardson. The one thing I've been thinking this entire time is, who is actually going to try and jump the Colts? That's the one problem with this thing, right? Now, the one team I think that I would be proposing a trade with would be the Tennessee Titans. Like, they're the only team that makes sense. And that's the one thing, right? So I'm just pulling up the trade piece of this real quick. So Cardinals have number 3, Titans have 11, 41, 72, 147, and we're not going to get too bogged down into the details here, but let's say 3, they definitely have to give 11 for sure, a 24 first.
Yeah.
Would it take more than that,
Probably.
Let's say a third. Let's say 72 for 96, a swap in the 3rd round as well. Just it was declined. All right, it's not going to work. I can't force it, unfortunately. So that said, we're going to pick a player here. Everything I've heard, Tyree Wilson is the guy that they're just absolutely in love with. Now, what I would love to see them do is trade Kyler Murray and take Anthony Richardson or CJ Stroud here.
That would be interesting.
just because it lets them reset with the quarterback. They're paying Kyler Murray a ton of money. I
A
don't think they're
lot.
ultimately going to do it, and I don't think there's going to be much of a trade, market for Kyler right now with him being injured and recovering from the ACL. So that said, I'm going to take Tyree Wilson. This is like one of the worst kept secrets in the NFL that they love this guy. And with Will Anderson
Mhm.
already gone, I don't even think it's a competition here. So Tyree Wilson pairs with Jonathan Gannon, their new head coach as well. So,
I like it.
all right. So here's the question: who are the Colts? This is predictive. We don't get to do what we would
Right.
do. Do you think
Right.
the Will Levis hype is real?
Um, I don't. I think it's a ploy,
Really?
personally.
I
I
dude,
do.
I can't see. They sent their entire like GM staff down to Kentucky.
I know. It
Like,
just feels weird. And I just feel that DJ Stroud is gonna be a Colt.
I don't
That's
think so. That's the one thing.
I
So
I
here,
yeah.
let me lay out my thoughts. I don't agree
Yeah.
with it. Again, I don't agree with Bryce Young
Yeah.
going at 1 overall. But you look at Shane Steichen, right? And what did he have at Philadelphia? Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was not the most accurate quarterback,
Mhm.
and he was more of an athlete than a great
I
thrower of the football.
I will say though that Jalen Hurts was a more accomplished passer
Oh, for
than
sure.
Will
I
Levis
agree with
has
that.
been. Yeah.
I'm
So
not saying that, but I'm just saying
yeah.
I think that what he's going to value for his offense is more of an athlete. Now, are you going to take Anthony Richardson over Will Levis? I would personally, but I think that Jim Irsay is really pushing this like hard, very, very
Right.
hard. So I just don't think CJ Stroud is going to be the pick here. I would Anthony Richardson, but I think it's going to be Will Levis. I really do. I'll let you ultimately decide here, but
Yeah.
there's too much smoke here, and I think Jim Irsay is
I get it.
probably, you know, on
No,
a coke
and
bender, and
I can definitely see that because they're both high T guys.
yeah,
You know, excuse me. It's to be honest. So I mean, I feel that the best pick for them would be CJ Stroud. And
agreed,
I yeah,
agreed.
and I just feel the Will Levis stuff is weird. I mean, I do see it just seems odd. It just seems odd this is happening like this week.
hmm
Like and everything leading up to, last week was like CJ Stroud's gonna go, probably number 2 or 4 to the Colts, stuff like that.
Right.
Um,
Let's give him
so
Will Levis and just see how the rest of the board
yep,
kind of falls
yep,
here.
yeah, that's kinda what I'm thinking too.
Just because I think that one, they're going to do it and it's going to be dumb,
Yeah,
and two, I just want to see how these quarterbacks do fall now at this point, right?
right.
All right, so we'll go Will Levis here. That puts me on the clock here at 5, and I think that Jalen Carter is the locked in guy. I've heard some
Yeah,
people lately talking about some of the cornerbacks, Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon. I just don't really see that with the needs that this team has. When you have Pete Carroll, who is just he's a go getter, right? Jalen Carter's the best guy in this draft, probably just pure talent, and he's got a little bit of off the field stuff. I think that Pete Carroll is going to think that I can help this guy. One, he was a college coach forever, right? Who did he coach for? USC, is that right?
yeah, USC, yeah.
So I think that he's going to look at it and say, I can help this guy. And they're not afraid of projects over there in Seattle. So I'm going to take Jalen Carter here at 5. I just think it makes the most sense. It's a huge need for the team as well. All right, so
Yeah, no,
Lions. Who are you going to go here?
I mean excuse me. I mean, I could go defense. Like, I feel it makes a lot of sense since um, they traded Jeff Okudah.
Yeah,
It was about 3 weeks ago. It's a good cornerback to really shore up it's that back end. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if they went quarterback and went
I
with,
would
like,
a
Anthony
little bit.
Richardson.
I think that they
I
like Goff too much. And I think
Right,
the reason why I would be shocked here, I think if they go quarterback, it'll be at 18. And my
right.
reasoning why is because I think that in their mind, Jared Goff was not the problem last year. Their defense was
Right.
atrocious, right?
It was
And
bad. It was
if
bad.
if their defense was mid-tier last year, they make playoffs, right? Like 100%. And
Right.
then at that point, who knows what happens? But that's the only thing I'm thinking is just if you look at it, they're going to say, "Oh, our defense was so bad that if we can fix that, we can still make playoffs and we can get a guy with our second pick, right? And still be okay if someone falls there, for example. Or they could be
Right.
aggressive and trade up from that pick as well, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my only thoughts there.
Yeah. So, I think with that, I'm gonna go with Devon Witherspoon.
Devon Witherspoon. All right, all right.
Yep. Yeah, is who I'm gonna go with. Like I just
Quarterback.
feel I just feel he's a physical freak and he really has an eye for the ball. So
Yeah, he's very
and
good. Very good. All right, so 7. Now this is where it gets interesting. Now, I did a video earlier this offseason saying how to fix the Las Vegas Raiders, right? And, I said I would be going for Jimmy Garoppolo in the offseason, which they did. And then I said in the draft specifically, do not go quarterback. Now, that was kind of under the assumption they'd be forced to go Will Levis at this pick. You got Anthony Richardson, you got CJ Stroud here. Oh, man. If this is how the board falls, they have so many other needs, though. And
yes they
this
do.
defense is
Yes they do.
so bad.
It's so bad. So bad.
Ah,
Yep.
man. Like, I honestly, I could see him going CJ Stroud. Positionally, it's great. It gives you some long-term stability, but I think that honestly, Josh McDaniels is playing for his job, essentially. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
So I don't
Absolutely.
think he can afford to take a quarterback here. And if they're bad again, he might be able to save his job. And if they're really bad, he has the Drake May, Caleb Williams conversation for next year.
Mhm.
So I'm actually going to go Christian Gonzalez. I think that that's who they would lean. Their defense is just rough. And I mean, if you pull up the team needs here, just based on PFN here, the Raiders just looking offensive tackle, defensive tackle, cornerback, safety, offensive guard. So basically the entire offensive line and yeah, and their entire
Yeah.
defensive secondary. So, the other player in mind for me would be Peter Skoronsky out of Northwestern. He's a tackle,
Yeah.
but everyone is kind of profiling him to guard. When you need all of the offensive line, he's kind of the perfect guy because he could play both positions. And maybe he's
Yep.
not the best tackle, but he would be kind of leaning both sides. Oh, I actually think I'm going to go Peter Skoronsky here, and just because of that flexibility, and it's a massive need as well. So I'm going to go Skoronsky here to the Raiders. You're up with the Falcons
Interesting.
at 8.
All right. So it's with the Falcons at 8. I think for the Falcons, this is probably the best the board could look in all honesty. Because
Predictively, do we want to give him Bijan so we're
yeah,
right?
I think right. No, I get that. Um, I mean, I don't think I want to do that. I think I think I finally want to play my CJ Stroud card,
Okay.
and I and
Would you
I
do
really think
would you do CJ Stroud here or Anthony Richardson? Now, I know
I
you
would
would do, but what do
yeah.
you think the
Um,
Falcons would do?
I think the Falcons. I think Arthur Smith wants more of the Ryan Tannehill type that he had in Tennessee, and I don't think that is Anthony Richardson. I think he's too much
But if
of a
you
wild.
if you think about the
He's
rushing upside of Anthony
I
Richardson
know.
in that offense, man,
I know.
that's tough to
I
pass up.
know.
And I like
I
CJ
I
Stroud,
I
but I think Richardson would be a
I
better
get it.
fit.
I I differ because they have the weapons
Sure.
and with Anthony Richardson, his tape is very bad. Like his throwing tape, I know,
Yeah, yeah.
but when you play in the SEC and you're only throwing 53% and 2/3 of your balls are going in the dirt,
Right.
That's
It's concerning.
I'm
It's
not digging that.
concerning. It is. It is.
It's very concerning.
All right.
Very
So you
concerning.
think
So,
quarterback here. So you're going to pull
yep,
CJ Stroud. That's fine.
yep,
That's fine.
yep,
Again, this is what
I'm
I would do. But,
yeah.
man, Anthony Richardson in that rushing attack would be fun. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it would be,
That
definitely.
would
I
be
agree.
mega
It would be
entertaining.
interesting. Yes, it would be very interesting.
All right, so basically, I've if you haven't noticed, I've nixed trades in here because I can't force them through, unfortunately.
Right.
So we're just not going to worry about that. But honestly, I would not be surprised if the Titans are not sticking at 11 and they try and trade up,
Right.
to
I
like
agree.
a 3 or even
Or
6.
7. Yeah, or 7 or yeah, 6 or 7. Yeah.
But all right, so at 9 here with the Chicago Bears. Now this is where it gets a little interesting. There's been a lot of talk lately about Bijan going to them,
Yep. Yep.
Gonzalez, Miles Murphy, Nolan Smith, and I honestly think the guy that they're going to go is Paris Johnson Jr. They kind of
Oh, yeah.
neglected the offensive line last year, and with the new GM, I forget his name off the top of my head, he was a former offensive tackle and or offensive lineman. I don't remember. He might have been a
Mhm.
guard, but he has a history of playing the offensive line. And he was doing a solo like training session with Paris Johnson in Ohio State. And I just think that there's too much there. There's a lot of smoke. And I get it. They have a defensive minded head coach, but they know that they need to protect Fields. They've done a lot to try and protect him with the weapons
Yep.
and upgrading that side. They haven't really done a lot to upgrade the offensive line yet. And I think that Paris Johnson just gives them that perfect opportunity now to go
Yep.
get a tackle. There's so many defensive guys deep in this class that, you're going to get a premier tackle to protect Justin Fields here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's fantastic, and I think it helps that, that Paris Johnson Jr. played with Fields.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, I do feel that has a lot in the trust factor of just being able to protect a guy.
Yep.
So
Yep. I'm with you. All
so
right. 10.
so yep, I'm here at 10. I know there's been a lot of chatter today about JSN to the Eagles. I
I don't
think
see it. I just don't understand it.
I don't I agree, but I've been hearing that chatter, but I also saw today that, um, that in an that that in an interview that Bijan Robinson said that he would love to play with Jalen Hurts.
That's great.
So,
I don't
yeah,
think Howie
so,
Roseman's going to do it, though.
uh,
Howie Roseman's not the type of guy to invest heavily on the running back.
I know.
Yeah. I
I
love
get
Bijan,
that.
and I would love to see this
I
happen, but
get that. I get that, but I feel that teams that are this good and are really only a player away kinda go
mhm,
for these home run players,
possible.
and I
It's
f
definitely possible. We can
and
do it.
I yeah, I'm doing it. I'm
All
doing it.
right.
Sign me up.
All right.
Sign me up.
All right. I don't think this is ultimately going to happen. And I'll,
Fair enough.
I love the landing spot and I love the way this plays out, but I just don't know. Howie Roseman doesn't seem like this type of GM to invest heavily,
Mhm.
even on an elite player like Bijan Robinson. Jameer Gibbs, the second guy in this draft, you can definitely get, if you really wanted to upgrade your running back, you could get him with your second first round pick,
That's
probably,
true.
most likely, right?
Probably. Yeah.
And, you're looking at guys here. I know that they re signed both of their cornerbacks, but you got the future tackles. Like their offensive line is getting a little bit older. You really don't have a ton of holes here, and you could just kind of go wherever you wanted. Brian Branch would be a great addition here. Christian Gonzalez just for more cornerback
Mhm.
depth. And that's kind of where Howie Roseman goes in past drafts. But we'll go Bijan and we'll see how it ultimately plays out. They
Yeah.
are the team that is perfectly built that they can
Yes.
spend the pick
Yes.
on him right now.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said earlier, like with them being so close this last year,
Hmm.
I can see them just trying to take a swing at somebody that can be that change of pace player
Oh yeah.
and just be a
Oh yeah.
guy that can be, and that's gonna be Bijan.
all my Kenny Gainwell shares would be crying, but it is what it
Yes,
is.
I
It
know.
is
I
what
know.
it is. All right,
Yep.
so here at 11, so here's the question, right? The Titans, I don't think that Mike Vrabel is in any danger to losing his job. I
Agreed.
He's just
Agreed.
proven to be such a good coach. Players coach, everyone loves him. They've had a down year last year and they still finished as 11, right? And Anthony Richardson's on the board here. And I would love to say that they're going to go Anthony Richardson, but I'm just wondering if they got burned last year by Malik Willis. Malik Willis did not pan out. There's a report that just
Right.
came out a little like
Yep.
an hour ago that they don't trust Malik Willis. Ryan Tannehill is still on the roster. I just don't see them wanting to invest in Anthony Richardson because they're going to want to get guys that can produce now because I think that they think that they are
Fair.
still contenders, right? So that said, you look at the team needs here, and in reality, it's saying offensive tackle, center, wide receiver, guard, the entire offensive line, basically an edge. And you
Yeah.
got someone here in Broderick Jones who a lot of people have had as their number one. The top
Yeah.
offensive tackles, they're kind of interchangeable. I think that they would probably go Broderick Jones. They had the worst offensive line in a long time. And Mike Vrabel, former, trench player on the defensive side of the ball, he understands the value of that. So I'm going to go Broderick Jones here. They've
I
tried
like
for
it.
a couple years to, upgrade that offensive line. They've missed on quite a few of these guys, but I think that this is the year that they're going to go back to that well and try and make it, and it's funny, the last 3 picks that I've done have all been offensive linemen, but they're all
Yes.
very offensive line needy teams. And
Yeah.
these 3 guys, I know Darnell Wright is up there for a lot of people, but for me, it's Broderick Jones here. And I love that addition to this team.
No, I agree with that, and I do think that would be a step in the right direction for their franchise,
Mm-hmm.
but I also wouldn't be shocked if they traded up and,
Agreed.
to 3. So, like, I can see that, but, obviously, in this scenario, we weren't able to do that, so but
All right. So who you going to
excuse me.
12 here? The second pick for the Houston Texans.
Alright, so it's a second pick for the Texans. I think they would be very happy that a quarterback fell to them,
Yeah. Yeah, for
honestly.
sure.
Honestly.
Anthony
Um,
Richardson to the Texans would be fun. I'm not going to lie. It would be
yes.
fun.
It would be fun, and I think that, I don't think the Texans are super attached to Davis Mills
No.
enough where they would wanna keep him, long term. So, I don't I mean, if they went quarterback on their first pick, I would have probably picked Jackson Smith and Jigba, like, that would have made sense.
Right.
It's to pair him up with somebody, but that's not the way we went.
Yeah.
I could also go defense again, um, but I really think they wanna get that quarterback and try it with Anthony Richardson, and I think with their second pick that makes a lot more sense.
Yep. I'm with you. All right. It's on the board. It is on the board. I'm with you 100%. If you can, and I know people are saying, oh, that'll never happen. You can't pass on a quarterback and still get one of the top 4 at 12. No, not in this year's draft class. I mean, it happens pretty much every year. The 4th quarterback
It
is right
does.
around 10, 11. So
Yep, yep.
even in good quarterback classes, I mean, you go back to there was the Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, 1, 2, 3, right? Fields went off the
Mhm.
board at what, 9, I think it was?
11.
11, and then Mac Jones was at
11.
15. So it's like
Yep.
these guys are going to fall. There's too much other
Mhm.
value. Even the Carolina Panthers, who didn't have a franchise quarterback, passed on Justin Fields in that year. So
Yep.
once you get to the 4th guy at a position, they tend to fall quite heavily at that point in time.
Yep.
All right, Green Bay at 13. They swap picks with the New York Jets for this pick.
Mhm.
Now, this is predictive, so I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. Like, the Green Bay Packers are one of the most frustrating front offices in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like,
Yes.
I can't
Yes.
even
Agreed.
predict what they're gonna go. They every year their first round pick. All I know is they're not going JSN just because they never do that. And the front
I
office
I
didn't
wouldn't
change.
I wouldn't be shocked if they did.
No,
So
no,
I
they're not
wouldn't be
gonna do it.
shocked.
I don't think so. Here's the thing. As funny as it would be for the narrative that just to spite Aaron Rodgers, right?
That would
I
be
think that
hilarious.
the front office here are just morons when it comes. Like, to be frank, I think Brian Gutekunst is a bad general manager. I just honestly don't like him as a GM. I think he does dumb things on a routine basis and had Aaron Rodgers to save him many times. Um, so I think he's going to try it again, and it's going to blow up in his face, and ultimately he's going to lose his job either next year or the year after, because I think that he's going to try and get cute with it, and it's just not going to work. So that said, they're going to go, in my opinion, Miles Murphy, the edge out of Clemson, and it's not even really a big need, but he's probably the best player on the board at this point in time. And, they kind of just do that every single time. It's just like BPA.
Right.
Whether we need it or not, we're just going to go BPA. And I get it.
Right.
Christian Gonzalez is on the board, but I think that, there is a little bit of positional value here between edge and cornerback. They have really good corners already, and their edges are a little weaker. So I'm going to go Miles Murphy, and I think I have no idea. It's probably going to be like Nolan Smith or Lucas Van Ness, but
Right.
I don't know. I throw my hands up. I do not know. So that said, you're on the clock with the New England Patriots.
Right. Well, I mean, personally, like, I think JSN would be really good for Jordan Love,
I agree.
but
They're not going to do it
but
though.
fair, fair. No, I understand that.
I'm with you 100%. Them, JSN, or even like a Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, one of
Mhm.
these two guys would be fine, but I just don't see them going offensive weapon. They haven't done it in 20 years. So why
Right.
would they start now just because Rodgers is gone? It's just not their
Valid.
philosophy. It's dumb, but it's just how they operate.
Yeah. No, I get that. So,
They think
all
that
right. So,
they think they're the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they can get anybody in round two and make it work, and they
true,
can't.
true. All right. So I'm on the clock with the Patriots, and I mean, I could go JSN. Um,
I
I've been
would
hearing
love
some
that.
reports. I I would hate that for JSN because I think he'll die there. But
I don't think Bill will do it, but I would love it.
right. And well, I think Bill's been burned a little bit and he's a
Mhm.
little weary. But um so with that, um I've been hearing some reports that they might trade Mac Jones on draft day or so I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that. So,
Hmm.
but I don't really foresee that happening. Um and I think they're going to go defense, and I think they need a lot of cornerback help,
Yep,
and
that's where I was
or
looking
like
too. Yep,
either quarterback or back end, because I think Devin McCourty retired
retired.
this year.
Yep,
Yeah, is retired, and it's with Brian Branch. Like, I don't think he's the best athlete, but I think he's very smart.
sure.
Which does help. I can see him being a Bill guy.
I've heard
And
that
then
they had one-on-ones with Gonzalez though, and Bill really liked
right,
Gonzalez.
right. So, that's where I think I'm going to go, is with Christian Gonzalez.
Nice, nice.
So,
I actually think that's what's gonna happen. Him or Brian Branch. I think
yeah.
this is the exact
Yep, yep,
conversation they're gonna have in the
yep,
room. So that's
yep.
perfect. Um, yeah, I like that a lot. I like it a lot. We definitely need cornerbacks really badly. It's we
Yeah,
have like one guy,
yeah, you do. It's
one
bad. It's
guy.
bad.
He's not even the best cornerback, right? So, all right. So we're moving down the board. We get to scroll down a little bit here. That's fun. Okay. So 15 here for the New York Jets. Man, this team doesn't really need a lot. I think that they're going to go at this point in time. I don't want to do it again. Um,
Go offensive line, do it
it's
again.
gonna be
Come
Darnell
on.
right here.
Yeah,
They need tackle help so bad,
yeah, they
and
do.
you know You got Aaron Rodgers. He's 40 years old. You got to keep him healthy. And honestly, that's like the only need on this whole team. So
Right.
it's got to be Darnell Wright. And hopefully you get Mickey Becton back. But if you don't, Darnell Wright can play either side, I believe. So, there's that versatility there. But yeah, you got to go offensive line here. You just have to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. So
I hate this.
it just
I've
makes
taken
sense.
four tackles. I want to get some other picks here, dang it. Oh, I got the
I know.
Steelers next. What? Come on.
So maybe
Please.
another lineman. No, no. But all right. So I'm on the board with the Manders here,
Hey,
and
can
they
I real quick for
yeah,
the
absolutely.
Manders? Can I throw a potential player out there that I have not heard anyone talk about, and I don't
Yeah,
really understand why, right? The Washington Commanders. Who is their current tight end?
Logan Thomas.
Right. Is he any good?
Not really. He's old and injured.
Exactly. Why is nobody giving them Michael Meyer or Dalton Kincaid? Honestly,
I think
Meyer
they have
probably, but you know,
right. I think they have a lot bigger defensive needs because they
do
were
they? They've
trash.
drafted the first round
I
defensive
know,
player for like 4 straight years.
I know, I know. But I can see Ron Rivera doing that again.
I could
That
too,
was what he
but
likes.
uh,
So
who was did Ron Rivera, did the Panthers ever have an elite tight end? I forget.
they had Greg
Greg
Olson.
Olson, yeah, and he was a
Yeah,
first round pick, wasn't he?
he was, but he that was his like second
Oh yeah,
team
because he was
at
with the
that point.
Bears, right?
Bears,
Got
yeah,
drafted by the
yeah,
Bears.
yeah, he was traded.
Dude,
So
I don't know.
so
I've heard
I
zero
don't
people talk about tight end.
I don't
I
think
just
that's gonna happen because I could see them getting just as good quality tight end in the second round,
fair,
in my
fair,
opinion. In
fair,
my
fair,
opinion.
fair.
So,
I do
you
think
know,
that there's a pretty big gap though between like Mayer, even Kincaid, and like those next group of guys. But
that's
all right,
true.
let's
True.
hear where you're going here. I just
All
wanted to
right.
throw it out there
So,
for you.
yeah. So, unfortunately, my boy Chase Young can't stay healthy, and they need a little bit more defensive line help. So, I'm either thinking Lucas Van Ness or Nolan Smith. So, do I want to go? I mean, I feel they're both athletic freaks, like they're both these huge guys. Um, so that's where I'm thinking. And I think I'm going to take Lucas Van Ness.
Okay, I could see Nolan
And
Smith going here, but yeah,
yeah,
both of those guys
yeah,
are kind of back to
yeah.
back here.
I kind of feel it's going to be one or the other.
Okay, Lucas Van Ness. Yeah, it's an interesting pick. Definitely, he seems like a Ron Rivera type of guy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so the Pittsburgh Steelers here at 17. Man, the way that it's kind of fallen, I think it would have to. I cannot go another offensive lineman. There's just none left. Like
Right.
Anton
Yeah.
Harrison, no way. Dwan Jones, way too early.
Way too
Osiris
early. Yeah.
Torrance, way too early. So I cannot take another offensive lineman, thankfully, for myself. So I think you'd have to go here, Joey Porter Jr. It's a big need.
I
The
like it.
dad
I
story,
like it.
you know,
Yep.
they have probably been in pretty heavy contact with his dad to talk about the prospect and everything. So Joey Porter Jr. here to the Pittsburgh Steelers, just a perfect pick, when 4 offensive tackles are already gone. Now, in reality,
Yeah.
I doubt 4 tackles go this high, but
Yeah.
dude, so many teams need line help so badly this year.
That's very, very true. I agree.
How many over under in the first half of the draft, first 16 picks? How many offensive linemen do you think end up going?
Probably three.
3, and we have
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
I could see one guy. I could see the Raiders not taking offensive line,
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean,
but
but yeah, other than that, like all those other teams probably could.
I could see the Bears also not taking offensive line and just me screaming inside. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. So
All
All
right,
right,
so
all
18
right,
with the
so
Lions.
I'm on the clock with uh, I'm on the clock with Detroit. I would love if they went JSN. I think that would be wild, and they would have JMO, JSN, and Amon-Ra in the same wide receiver room. I think that would be nuts.
Yeah,
And I mean, I personally think JSN's gonna go higher and, personally, but
the
I
him and well,
think
him and Amon Ra would play the same position though. That's why I don't think they would do it.
that's true.
That's
That
the
is
one
true.
downside to that.
That
They
is
need
true.
kind of realistically who they need is a Quentin Johnston, to be honest with you.
Right.
But I mean, it all depends whether or not you think that JSN can play the outside. I do, but
Mhm.
his tape he didn't, right? So you're
Right.
projecting entirely. Or if Amon Ra can go to the outside, and again, you're kind of projecting a little bit there with it. But
Right. Right. So with that,
what about
I
Michael
mean,
Mayer, the
I thought
replacing
about
Hawk?
I also thought about Hinton here. It's tempting because I wouldn't be shocked if they try to get that next guy. And plus with Hooker, like there's not gonna be a rush for him to start day one anyways.
Sure. The
So
question is, for me at least, with Hooker, for example, I'm just pulling up to see. I believe the Lions have pick number 48. Do you
okay.
think that Hendon Hooker is a first round pick?
I think he will be.
I don't.
I I I
I
I think somebody's gonna trade up so that they can have that 5th year option. I know it's I
sure.
know you've talked about how in the past that's kind of a I don't say cliche, like that's not the word I'm thinking of, but that and some teams don't use that properly,
Right.
X, Y, and Z. But um, I I think somebody's going to trade up and get him towards the end of
Could it could it
into the
be the
first round.
Lions? That's the question. Do they have to take him at
That
18, or
that
could they trade that 48, and
right.
move that up
Um,
to 31 or whatever?
that's true.
I'm just,
Right,
you can go him if you want, but with us being predictive, that's just the only question,
right.
whether or
I'm
not.
not going to. I don't. I don't think they're going to take another first round tight end. I think I mean, with them taking Hawk a couple what was that, 3 years ago, at 8, you know, I think that would be sticky for them to take them, another first round tight end, I don't think they're super in love with any of those guys, um, and I I just know they need to fix the defense, um, so I think they're gonna go with a guy who is a physical freak in Nolan Smith. I'm just
Okay.
gonna go with Nolan Smith.
Not bad. Not bad. No, I like that a lot. I'm with you. I just, we talked about it already with the first pick there, but I just feel like they're going to really try and shore up that defense,
Yeah,
make it not a problem essentially. But
right.
all right, let's see here. Fixing up this stupid. Okay, so the Buccaneers at 19. And this team's in trouble, man. For
They
what
are
could
very bad.
they have
They're
just
very, very
fallen off
bad.
a cliff. They're very old. They need a quarterback. They need an edge. They need a cornerback, offensive guard, running back. I don't really think they need a running back that badly. Mike Evans is getting older. I could really see Chris Godwin being one of those sneaky draft day trades. You know,
Yep, I agree
um,
with that.
nobody's talked about it, but I could see that kind of happening. And if they were to do that, maybe they go JSN with that pick. I've heard that the Buccaneers at Caleb Williams was there for the pro day for USC, throwing the ball for like Jordan Addison, some of these other guys, right?
Right,
And the Buccaneers were there, like in the front row, just salivating over Caleb Williams for next year.
right.
So I think they're embracing the tank essentially. So with that said, in my opinion, they're going to want to go more upside, right? More long-term value versus short-term value for these guys. So the question is, who is that pick going to be? Now, this is where I'm going to throw a curveball here, and I'm actually going to go Jordan Addison.
Ooh.
And part of it is I think that there's a realistic chance that they're going to try and trade Mike Evans. They're going to try and trade Chris Godwin. Both of those guys have pretty big salary hits. I think they'd probably try and trade Mike Evans first, obviously, because he's a little bit more of he's older and everything like that. Maybe you can get a third-round pick out of him. I don't think you're going to get a first-round pick for either one of these guys, to be honest with you. So, but I think that they're going to go Jordan Addison. One, there's the potential Caleb Williams, right? The synergy next year when these guys get back together. Two, it gives you the flexibility to move on from a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin, either one, in this year's draft class, free up a lot of that money, and you're looking more long-term. And three, if you keep all those guys, he's a great third wide receiver for this team. It fixes it up long-term, and I like Jackson Smith-Njigba a lot more. I think that JSN is the best wide receiver in this class, but I just don't think he's the perfect fit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'd be going Jordan Addison here instead. Thoughts?
That's interesting. With a team with a lot of needs, I think I don't know where they would go. I just don't
That's the
think wide
question, right?
receiver. I just don't think I mean that scenario is only if Chris Godwin's traded. If Chris
I don't
Godwin's
think
not
so. I
traded,
think Mike Evans, like Jordan Addison can play the outside, right? Mike Evans can be gone. And if they're not, Godwin plays the slot anyway. So you'd have Jordan Addison in a 3 wide receiver set. You'd have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Jordan Addison. It's not a bad combination of guys, right? Especially when your
right?
defense is a little bit banged up. You got Baker, who, for what it's worth, he's not the worst quarterback. I know he gets hated on a lot, but what could have been with Baker if he hadn't gone to Cleveland, you know what I mean?
Right.
But you're giving him weapons, so you're giving yourselves a fighter's chance, a puncher's chance, right? Just to try and go guns blazing in some of these games where you're going to be down, right? So I don't know. I have a gut feeling, man. I just have a really strong gut feeling for this, and we'll see on draft night. But yeah.
That's
I
fair.
think JSN would, if they went JSN, that would indicate a Godwin trade, 100%.
That's fair. I was actually going to pick Jordan Addison with my pick.
At Seattle?
Yeah, it's with Seattle. Actually, so I'm a little bit bummed, but
All right.
I'm only a little bit bummed, but I'm only a
That's you
little
up,
bit
boy.
because
That's up.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pick JSN.
Yeah. I think it's a better fit
Yeah,
for both teams.
yeah, I that's what I was about to say. Like, I think it's a better fit. I feel Lockett and Metcalf are more the outside guys, anyways. And
Mm-hmm.
plus, like Lockett's getting older.
Yep.
He's often well, I wouldn't say he's often injured, but like he
No.
has been injured in the past.
Yeah.
And I think that would really set up Geno Smith in their offense.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I I wouldn't be shocked if in later rounds, if maybe in the second round, if the Seahawks draft a quarterback. That's just but I'm
I
not
could
saying
see
in the
them
first
being
round.
a Hendon Hooker target as well,
Yes, yes. I think that would be extremely interesting if they were to pick Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. I'm just seeing what their draft picks are. So they have 52, or sorry, they have 37. So they are very early in the next round. So,
Yeah, and
even if they don't trade
and
up,
with yeah, I was about to say, and with that, like I think that would be a lot easier to trade back up than
yeah,
like the Lions
oh
would
yeah,
be.
oh yeah, for sure.
So,
The Eagles. I mean, Howie would love to trade back with that second pick,
oh,
just get more
absolutely,
depth and
he would be full of joy if that was
right.
the case.
Right. All right. So, no, I love that a lot. And I think it works out well because JSN
Yeah.
on Seattle would be much better. It would suck kind of for fantasy. I'm not going to lie. I would not
A
love it for
little
fantasy
bit.
football in the short
I
term.
think his yeah, I think his overall production would be capped by
Yeah.
all by those guys.
Yeah. Same with Jordan Addison. If he went to Tampa Bay behind Godwin
Yeah.
and Evans with Baker. It's not a great situation for year one for fantasy football,
No,
but
it's really bad.
it's long term, right? That's why we do Dynasty mostly anyway. So all right, so 21 Chargers. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit more fun. I'm going Michael Mayer, the tight end
There
out of
we
Notre Dame.
go.
And I've heard so many rumors about them taking a wide receiver with this pick, and their offensive line is banged up. The right side of their offensive line is just a perennial problem. Storm Norton, I think, is his name. Their offensive tackle on the right side, he's garbage. He's bad, and they have not been able to replace him for years now. They just haven't been able to get a right tackle in this squad. But Michael Mayer, he's the perfect combination of blocker and just amazing pass catcher. And I like Gerald Everett, but he's not an otherworldly talent at the tight end position.
No.
And you can get Michael Mayer here, and it's a clear upgrade at the position. And, you look at this offense, right? You've got Keenan Allen, who's the slot wide receiver, plays the short intermediate area. Michael Mayer would eat up that intermediate area. And with Justin Herbert, who has an amazing arm, right? Then you still have Mike Williams on the outside. You've got, I forget the other guy, number 5 on the outside. Who's their other wide receiver?
Oh, it's
You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Josh Palmer.
Yeah, Josh Palmer.
Yeah.
Him on the outside as well. I just think that Michael Mayer fits a much bigger need, and in a weaker wide receiver class, Quentin Johnson would be interesting here, but I just don't.
I was kind of thinking Zay Flowers would be interesting.
Dude, I'm not buying the Zay hype. I just can't. I can't.
Hey, and that's fair. I mean, I kind of think Dalton Kincaid would be very interesting there because
Mm-hmm.
he's more a run after the catch guy compared to where Michael Mayer is your more
I agree.
PPR
He's your more
monster.
traditional guy, right? But I
Yeah,
think that the
yeah,
blocking is what gives Michael Mayer, for the Chargers specifically, the
yeah,
edge, right? So
yeah.
that's why I would go him. I agree with you. I think Kincaid is more if you need an explosive guy. I think the
Mhm.
weapons on this team though are still very good, right? So I just don't. I think they need more time to let the plays develop versus getting a guy the ball in his hands quick and doing something after the catch with a Kincaid, right?
Right.
So that's just
Yeah.
my thought process there. But
Right.
all right, so I'm interested to see what you're going to do here at 22 with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Let's assume for the time being that Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts just got a long-term contract. Let's say they
Right.
mirror that contract. I think that contract will get it done unless Lamar is just
I
done with
agree.
the Ravens. So let's just
Which honestly is very possible, but that's beside
it
the
is.
point.
It is definitely
Yeah.
possible. So who are you feeling here at 22 then?
I wouldn't be shocked if the Ravens went defense here for whatever reason. I think they're gonna
They lost
zag whenever zigs.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't think of that loss, but you know, I just know they
Marcus
need a
Peters,
lot.
that's his name.
Yeah, Marcus Peters. Yeah, they do need offensive line help.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, Kalijah
Kalijah
Clancy, I
Cansey is
believe.
very fun.
Fancy. Is there yeah, I think that would be very interesting. But I don't think OBJ is gonna be as relevant as what some people think. And I think they need but I think the obvious pick would be a wide receiver. But the Ravens are known to not always do what the consensus thinks.
Yep,
So
that's fair.
so
Very fair.
I think give me Kalijah Cansey
I
because
feel it.
I think
I'm
that
with you there. It definitely feels like
yeah.
something that could happen.
Yeah, because I think if they went wide receiver, they would go Quentin Johnston. I think they want more of a tough guy to I mean, a blazer that can take a slant,
Right.
it's to the house. I think they want more of that guy compared to, it's compared to Zay Flowers, who's a smaller guy. He
He's more
is,
of a
so
tactician, right? So, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yep. I'm with you.
yep.
I'm with you. All right. So 23 here. Now, the Minnesota Vikings, this board has fallen wild for them.
Yes.
Do I do it?
Do not give them Quentin Johnston. I don't know what you're thinking, but don't do that. Just don't do
Why?
that, please,
Why?
because that ruins my Justin Jefferson hype,
How does it ruin
and
it?
and and
They
it
can.
it
Kirk
I
Cousins is good
know,
enough to support multiple wide
I know,
receivers.
right?
He's
I mean,
good. He's good.
if it was me, Calvin, I would be going Hendon Hooker right here. Give me
Mm,
some Hooker,
eh.
and
I just
come
don't
on.
see it, man. I
Yeah.
know it's the popular
I
one.
understand.
They
Yeah.
can't sign Hendon Hooker because I guess they have to be prepared to sign Aaron Rodgers here in 2 years. So.
That is very true. Like, they have 2 years to sign Aaron Rodgers. It's coming. It's coming.
I'm just trying to find the Vikings here, see what their needs are. Cornerback, wide receiver, safety. Man, safety here. Brian Branch. I love Brian Branch and the fact that he's fallen here to 23.
Yeah,
Like, I
that's
don't have him
perfect.
as my 18th ranked player. I'm going to go Brian Branch here. I think that the defense
I
needs
like it.
help, and Brian Branch is a
Yeah,
very, very good player. So you're getting a premier player. I get it, it's a safety, but dude,
right,
he's so good. I would
right.
be
I mean,
tempted to do Quentin Johnson though, but
I could see them doing that, or I could see them maybe going like, Banks Banks from Maryland,
yeah, yeah, Deontay
or Cam
Banks.
Smith out of South Carolina. Yeah, I could see them either from quarterback or safety there.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm with you.
All
All
right,
right,
I'm on
24.
the yep, I'm on the board with the Jags. They need cornerback, safety, tight end. I don't really feel they're going to go tight end because
I
I think
don't
they're going
see
to
tight end
sign
as a need.
Evan Ingram probably long term,
Yep.
and defensive tackle. So, um, I think they're going to go. I'm going to pick my first offensive lineman,
Hmm.
and I'm going to go with Osiris Torrance. I think that just makes
Ooh,
too. I think that just makes a lot of sense for them,
I agree.
and it's a hometown guy. I mean, I personally, I mean, I'm always going to be a homer with the Ohio State guys and like DeJuan Jones, but you know, I think they got their tackles last year
Mm-hmm.
in free agency, so I think they're more secure there. I could honestly see Jones going, or in being a guard, but that would be terrifying with like a 6'8" guard, coming at you personally.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Osiris Torrance.
Perfect. No, I do like it. Protecting, and that's one thing Doug Peterson always emphasized heavily in Philadelphia was the offensive line,
Yep,
like
yep.
heavily. So, no, I don't even think it's a crazy pick at all. So, I do like that there. This has fallen perfectly, in my opinion, for the Giants here, 25. I don't think they're
They
actually going to
love
have this
this.
pick, though. I think they're going to trade it for a wide receiver. They're the number one team I have linked right now into trading their first round pick for like an Ayuk, a Judy, maybe even a Chris Godwin, somebody like
Chris
that. But
Godwin. Yep, yep.
I could see them definitely moving
Yeah.
off this pick. But the way that this draft has fallen, Quentin Johnson's here. And yes, I mean, they have 5 slot wide receivers on this team. They need
Take
size.
Zay
Quentin Johnson.
Flowers. They need more slot wide
Yeah,
receiver.
right. Right. So yeah, just give me Quentin Johnson, and the dude
Yeah,
is going to absolutely
I do like that.
smash. They've got
Yeah,
Darren Waller and 5 slot guys. like,
I know that. So, all right.
oh,
So with Dallas, they are also loving this board because I feel they have their have had. I think they're going to go either wide receiver. I I I I really think they would have loved having Johnston there. It's a big play guy, and Jerry loves those guys. He does. Um, I think they would have loved Michael Mayer.
mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, both those guys are off the board, and I think they're going to go tight end with Dalton Kincaid. I think they
Ooh.
need to get another pass catcher for Dak, and Dalton Kincaid is that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can play him in line if they need to. They can play him in a slot, and I think he's going to be very versatile for them.
Yeah, I like it. I do like it. They have like 5 guys at tight end already, but no, Dalton
I
Kincaid
don't
is
care.
definitely an upgrade over all those guys.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
all right. So Buffalo Bills. Now this is every year where we're supposed to draft them the top running back. So Jameer
Yep,
Gibbs, right? So that's
yep.
just who it has to be, even though they never do it and they never use the guys anyway. But All right. So needs wise, why do I not see Buffalo on here? Oh, they're the first team. That's why. It's late, guys. It is very late. Guard, cornerback, linebacker, safety, wide receiver. I think that they're going to get. No, I think they're going to ultimately end up getting DeAndre Hopkins. They're going to work out that trade, however it ends up.
I agree.
So the way that the board's fallen here, Deonte Banks is just too good of a slam dunk here.
I like that.
It's a need.
I like it.
And it's Sean McDermott. He's going to want to go defensive. So Deonte Banks here for me.
No, I really do like that. And, I think they need somebody in the back end to really shore up that defense because they are still suspect and they're playing in the AFC East where they're going to have these, like they're playing the likes of
Rodgers.
Hill. Yeah, Hill, Waddle, they're playing against Garrett Wilson and you got whoever the Patriots are going to throw out there.
Juju's still good. He's all right.
Well, but so yeah. So I do agree that that's a slam dunk pick there. So all right, I'm on the board with the Bengals.
Are you gonna do it?
And do what?
Are you gonna do it with the Bengals?
Do what? Like, what are you thinking?
Gibbs.
Gibbs, running back. I thought about it, but I there's they. I think there's a lot of good running backs in this draft,
I
and
agree.
that's where.
But if you're gonna pair
but
one with Joe Mixon,
I know. I don't disagree with that, but they need to protect it. They need to protect Joe Burrow. That needs to be priority number one. They need to make sure that they don't have another freak accident where he blows out his ACL or something ridiculous.
Right.
And that's why they're going to go DeJuan Jones.
I actually like this a lot. Hometown.
The Ohio State. Yes. It makes
right
too much
tackle.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I understand going Gibbs. I get it, but I think they need to keep Joe Burrow upright so that they can throw it to Higgins and Chase all day, and potentially Irv Smith, which I think they got Irv Smith at tight end, didn't they?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting. So.
All right, so I'm on the clock here now with the New Orleans Saints. Dude, I hate the Saints.
Yes, I'm glad you got this pick.
Oh, what?
Just give them Zay Flowers. Come on.
That's what they deserve. They deserve.
Right.
Now, in reality, who would they even go here? Like, this team is such a mess, dude. This team is a mess.
Let's see. They need defensive tackle, edge, wide receiver, tight end.
So everything? Great.
Right. Basically.
I'm going to give them Brian Brees. I think that they're going to ultimately just try and get traits guys. With Cam Jordan getting a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good fit here. And it gives them somebody who's athletic and can play the front for a while. Like Keely Ringo, I don't think that he's that good. Cam Smith, I'm not sold on it as a first-round pick. Brian Brees is kind of the last guy here on the defensive side that I have worthy of a first-round pick here.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that, and I think that's a very good pick. So, all right, I'm on the board with my last pick, with the Eagles, and I went Bijan at 10, which I know you're a little hesitant about, which I get that. I wouldn't be shocked if they went somebody else and then went Gibbs towards the end. But some of their needs is cornerback, edge, safety, defensive tackle, linebacker, which they need a lot more defensive help.
Mm-hmm.
So
just
I
longevity, right? Too.
Right. So, like I've been seeing some mocks with like Will McDonald the fourth going there. I do not like Keely Ringo. I will say this now. I think he's trash. He played horribly against Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
I know he's probably
he's not.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's extremely overrated. So,
can I throw a name out for you? Just as
absolutely,
Jack Campbell. Yeah. Jack Campbell's the guy that a lot of people are talking about as a first round pick, and he's the only like good linebacker We haven't even
Yeah,
taken a linebacker yet, I don't believe.
I know.
Um,
I've been seeing him or potentially like Drew Sanders out of
yeah,
Arkansas as
yeah,
I've been seeing him as well. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too of going linebacker. Um,
it's a
I,
need.
I, I, yeah, it is a need. I also thought about going BJ Ojala,
Ojolari.
Ojolari.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought about him on the edge, but I think I'm going to go Jack Campbell.
No, I like
I
it.
think I think he's going to be a solid player
He's
for
been
them.
he's been rising heavily up
Yeah,
draft boards. And if you're watching on YouTube, no, we're almost done here. I apologize for whatever reason. Pro Football Network has like a little white bar on the bottom of their draft that I can't get rid of. So you can't see really the last two picks here, and I apologize. But we're almost done. It's the last pick of the draft here with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now this one, you can go any real direction here. Do I give them Jahmyr Gibbs so they can correct their mistake with Clyde Edwards-Helaire a couple years ago?
yeah, potentially. Yep, I think that would be fun.
You know who I am going to give him though?
Please do it. Please do it. I've been saying his name.
Darnell Washington.
Fun. No, it's gonna
Yes.
be Zay Flowers. It's
No,
gonna
that's
be
what I'm
Zay
going to go.
Flowers.
I'm going Zay Flowers.
God,
It'll be
thank you.
Zay Flowers here. Um,
There we go.
there we go. So now you can see it here if you're watching. Not the best post production, but it's all good. So yeah, Zay Flowers, I think that they would want to add more weapons to Patrick Mahomes. They lost Juju, so Zay Flowers is a good, just instant plug and play. They still have Sky Moore, but they also lost Mecole Hardman off this team, so they need a few guys. They definitely need more weapons there as the years go on. Just to maintain what they have here. So I'll do a quick rundown of the top picks. So number 1 to Carolina, Bryce Young. 2, Houston Texans, Will Anderson, the edge out of Alabama. Number 3 to the Cardinals, Tyree Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech. 4 to the Indianapolis Colts, Will Levis out of Kentucky, quarterback. Ugh, if you can call him that. Seattle Seahawks, number 5, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Detroit Lions, number 6, Devon Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. The Las Vegas Raiders at 7 take Peter Skoronski, the offensive tackle / guard out of Northwestern. With the Atlanta Falcons at 8, we finally get C.J. Stroud off the board, QB from OSU. And the tackle from OSU, does he play left tackle? I remember right.
I think he played both at Ohio State.
Okay. Paris
So
Johnson Jr.
yeah,
goes to the Chicago Bears at 9. Bijan Robinson, running back, goes to the Eagles at 10. Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia, goes to the Titans at 11. Anthony Richardson goes to the Texans at 12, quarterback out of Florida. And Texans were able to pass on the quarterback and still get him on the way back. So that's always fun. Myles Murphy, edge out of Clemson to the Green Bay Packers, because who knows what they're going to do with that pick. Christian Gonzalez, quarterback out of Oregon, to the Patriots at 14. Darnell Wright, offensive tackle, to the Jets at 15. Lucas Van Ness, edge out of Iowa, to the Washington Manders at 16. Joey Porter Jr., the Sun Comes Home, cornerback out of Penn State, to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nolan Smith, edge out of Georgia, to the Lions at 18. Jordan Addison, the one that took Dale by complete surprise, wide receiver out of USC, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 19. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigbo, wide receiver out of OSU, Ohio State, to the Seahawks at 20. Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame, to the Chargers at 21. Kalijah Cansey, DT, Pittsburgh, to the Baltimore Ravens. Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama, to the Vikings. Osiris Torrance, guard, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm starting to lose track of the teams here. New York Giants take Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver out of TCU. Get some size in that receiving room. Much needed size. Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah, to the Cowboys. Not a bad pick. I do like that one quite a lot, actually. Deontay Banks, cornerback, Maryland, to the Buffalo Bills. DeJuan Jones, offensive tackle, OSU, to the Bengals. They get their right tackle to save Joe Burrow there. Brian Brees, DT, out of Clemson to the Saints. Jack Campbell, linebacker, the only linebacker in the first round, to the Eagles at 30. And then Zay Flowers makes it into the first round, wide receiver out of Boston College, to the Chiefs. So let us know your thoughts on this mock draft. Dale, how did you feel it went?
I felt it went really good. I wanted to take CJ Stroud so many times, and you told me no. So, so, um, yeah, I think overall, I think these are very realistic picks, and I think that even if the player's wrong, I think the position is going to be very close.
Let's see if we can get more than 5 right here. That'll be the challenge. That'll be the challenge.
I think that's very fair. I think if we get like 10 right, I think we need to I think we should apply to become a draft analyst.
Yeah,
So
yeah, right. I think last year the most accurate guy had 12 picks. 12.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So we will
That's
see.
wild.
So we'll be keeping track of this. Dale, I hope you wrote all these down because I did not.
Oh, I did.
All right. So we're going to keep track of this on draft night. Make sure you come and check out our post-draft recaps. Friday, I'll be coming out with round 1. Saturday, we're going to hit day 2, which is rounds 2 and 3. And then next week, we'll be talking about the rest of the players there. It's very exciting. It's draft week. Again, we're rewarding ourselves here with this mock draft. Hopefully you guys like it. Hit us up on Twitter one more time at TDC_Calvin, at Dynasty_Dale. Podcasts on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, all those places. If you can, leave a comment, subscription, review, like, whatever, anything. Just help us out there. So thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully you like this mock draft. Until next time, have a good night.